Dear students, in this lecture we will study uncountable sets. So what are uncountable sets? We have defined uncountable sets. A set is uncountable if it is neither finite nor countable. We have defined uncountable set, and it is a set which is neither finite nor countable. There are only three types of sets: finite, denumerable or countable. By denumerable I mean countable, denumerable that is countable, and uncountable. In the previous lecture we have studied some properties of countable sets. Now we will see some examples of uncountable sets. So the first example is the set 0 1. This is taken as a theorem in our textbook. The set 0 1 of which I could write as set of all real numbers between the set closed interval closed interval 0 1, which I could write as set of all real numbers between 0 and 1 is uncountable. Is uncountable. Proof. The proof is by contradiction. Suppose on contrary that suppose on contrary that 0 1 closed interval 0 1 is countable. Any countable set can be represented as the list of elements, where we can count the elements, first element, second element, and so on. Then 0 1 can be represented as closed interval 0 1 is equal to x1, x2, x3, and so on. Every number in 0 1 has the decimal expansion of the form a1, a2, a3, and so on. So every number, say let us take a number a in 0 1, it has decimal expansion of the form a1, a2, a3, where ai belongs to the set 0 1 to 9. This decimal expansion is unique except for the numbers of the type like 1 by 2, which can be represented as 0.5000 and so on, and it can also be represented as 0.4999 and so on. By axiom of choice, we can stick to any one of the form. So by selecting any one of these forms, we can assume that every number in 0 1 has unique decimal expansion of this type. The converse is true as well. Every number of this type will be in 0 1. So what is our conclusion? Our conclusion is that we can represent every number in 0 1 in this form, and by selecting any one of this choice, we can assume that this decimal expansion is unique. So let us make use of this fact and write, let x is equal to, let xi is equal to 0.a1 a2. We are using subscript to denote that it is ith number in this list. ai1, ai2, ai3 and so on. So every number in this list has a decimal expansion of this type, and by using this fact we can write 0 1 as, we can write 0 1, the set 0 1 as the set, we can represent 0 1 in the form, say x1, which is equal to 0.a1 a2 a3 a4. The next number in our list will be x2, 0.a1 a2 a3 a4. Then x3 will be 0.a1 a2 a3 a4. So this is third number in the list, and so on. In general, xn, the nth number in the set, will have the decimal expansion of the form 0.a1 a2 a3 a4 and so on. Okay, this will be the infinite list, a countable list to be precise, and 0 1 is this set. Now to obtain a contradiction, we will use Cantor's diagonalization technique. The Cantor's diagonalization technique allows us to construct a number which is in 0 1, but it is not in this list. So we are going to construct a number b which is in 0 1, but it is not in this list, it is not in this set. So this will contradict the statement, say first. So it will contradict our statement that 0 1 equals to this, because we are going to construct a number which is in this set on left hand side, but it is not in the set on right hand side. So how to construct this number? We will consider diagonal decimal places, a11, a22, a33, and in general ann we can consider. So diagonal number diagonal decimal places we will consider. Let B1 be any digit from I could include 0 or exclude 0 as well. That won't affect our proof. So for simplicity, let me exclude both 0 as well as 9. Let B1 be any digit from this set 1 to 8 such that B1 is not equal to A11. Let B2 be any digit from the set 1 to 8 such that B2 is not equal to A22 and so on. In general, let Bn be any digit from the set 1 to 8 such that Bn is not equal to Ann, and this will continue. Then let us construct a required number B in the set 0, 1. A number B in set 0, 1, we construct it as B is equal to 0 point B1, B2, B3 and so on. Then B is not equal to AI. Let me explain this. Why B is not equal to A1? Because it differs at first decimal place. Okay. Rather I would say B is not equal to Xi. Please note the correction. So why B is not equal to Xi or X1? Because B and X1 differs in first decimal place. See, B1 is not equal to A11. That's why B is not equal to X1. Again, why B is not equal to X2? Because numbers B and X2 differs in their second decimal place, just as B and X1 differs in first decimal place. The second decimal place of X2 is A22 and the second decimal place of B is B2. As we are assuming that every real number has unique decimal expansion of this form, so B is not equal to X2. This is true for all Xi's. Then B is not equal to Xi for I is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, as B differs in ith decimal place of Xi. The ith decimal place of the ith decimal place of b is bi, and the ith decimal place of xi is aii. Since bi is not equal to aii, b is not equal to xi. So I explained it in detail why b is not equal to xi. Also, b belongs to 0 1, but as we have proved that b is not equal to xi, but b does not belong to the set x1, x2, x3. This contradicts first statement that 0 1 equals to this set, because b is in this set but it is not in this set. So this contradicts the fact that these two sets are equal. This contradicts first, hence our assumption was wrong. What was our assumption? Our assumption was that 0 1 is countable. Hence 0 1 must be countable. 0 1 must be uncountable. 0 1 is uncountable. This completes the proof of the fact that 0 1 is uncountable. Let us see some examples of countable and uncountable sets. Recall that in last lecture we proved that any infinite subset of countable set is countable. So by using this result we can prove that R is uncountable. R is uncountable. So I will mention the result which we have proved in the last lecture. I will specify it here. Any infinite set of countable set is countable. Any infinite set of countable set is countable. Say this is statement star. I'll put it in double quotes. Suppose on contrary that R is countable. Suppose on contrary that R is countable. Then by star we can conclude that by star an infinite subset 0 1 closed interval 0 1, an infinite subset closed interval 0 1 of R, an infinite subset closed interval 0 1 of R is countable. This is absurd because just now we have proved that 0 1 is uncountable, is countable. This is absurd because we have established the result that closed interval 0 1 is uncountable. This is absurd. Hence 0 1, sorry, hence R must be uncountable. Hence R must be uncountable. Next example which we will prove is example. Let A be let A and B be countable sets. Let A and B be countable sets. Then prove that A cross B is countable. By induction, we can generalize this result and say and have the result that a finite Cartesian product of countable sets is countable. We have to prove that A cross B is countable. If A and B are countable, then we want to prove that A cross B is countable. As A and B are countable sets, they can be represented as so any countable set we can represent it in the form A1, A2, A3 and so on. B we can represent it in the form B1, B2, B3 and so on. For I is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on, for each such I, define Ci as a set Cartesian product of A cross Bi. Then Ci can be represented or Ci can be written as the set of all ordered pairs AB1, AB2, sorry, I mean AIB1, AIB2, no, I'm making mistake here. I should say A1 Bi, A2 Bi, A3 Bi. So second coordinate is fixed. It is yes. So Ci consists of all ordered pairs of this form A1 Bi, A2 Bi, A3 Bi. We can have one-to-one mapping. this representation of countable sets, in this representation of countable sets, note that all elements are distinct. Okay, so define function f from I to Ci as f of I to avoid confusion I'll use j here. F of j is equal to aj bi. So this function we can visualize in this form. Elements of I, we will write 1 2 3 4, say jth element, and element of Ci will be a1 bi, this is set I, this will be element a2 bi, a3 bi, a4 bi, this will be aj bi, and so on. Then we can have one-to-one mapping. This is one-to-one mapping. F gives a one-to-one mapping from I to Ci. Why is it one-to-one correspondence or mapping? Because B is countable and all BIs are distinct. That's why it is one-to-one correspondence between I and Ci. So we conclude that F is on 1 and on 2 because B is countable. So F is 1 1 and on 2. The reason is that P is countable and all BIs are distinct. This implies that I is equivalent to the set Ci, and which further implies that Ci is countable. This holds for all i's for I is equal to 1 2 3 and so on. Say this is statement number first. It is clear that A cross B. What is A cross B? It consists of all ordered pairs AI BJs, where AI belongs to AI, where AI belongs to A and BJ belongs to B. I and J takes values from 1 2 3 and so on. It can be written as union of all Ci's. So this is key point. A cross B can be written as union of all Ci's. This is obvious if you think. For example, how to obtain AI BJ? It will be in which set? It will be in the set Cj. The ordered pair will be in the set Cj. Okay. So union I is equal to 1 to infinity Ci. Say this is second statement. From first and second, each Ci is countable, and we have the result that countable union of countable sets is countable. So let me specify the result. The countable union of countable sets, countable sets is countable. So from first and second we conclude that A cross B, which is countable union of countable sets. Which countable collection we are considering? C1, C2, C3 and so on. So this is countable collection. Further, each Ci is countable. So from first and second we conclude that A cross B equals to, better I could write this as, from first and second, union I is equal to 1 to infinity Ci, which equals to A cross B is countable. Remark: this result can be generalized for more than two sets by induction, and in general we will have a result: a finite Cartesian product of countable sets is countable. A finite Cartesian product of countable sets is countable. Using this result, you can prove that a set of all polynomials of fixed degree with integral coefficients is countable. You take this as an exercise to prove that set of all integral polynomials of fixed degree is countable. Before I conclude this lecture, let me take few more examples. So I'll take a simple example. If A is countable set, if A is countable set of, if A is countable set of uncountable, if A is countable subset of uncountable set B, then the set B minus A is uncountable. Then the set B minus A is uncountable. It is fairly easy to prove this. A is subset of B. The shaded portion represents the set B minus A. What is the set B minus A? It consists of all those elements which are in B but not in A. So we take away part of A from B, and that gives us the set B minus A. X belongs to B but X does not belong to A. How to prove this? In order to prove this result, we have to use the result that finite union of countable sets is countable. If we consider the set A and B minus A, then B can be written as disjoint union of these two sets. B is uncountable. B is uncountable. I am not going to write the proof in detail. You can find the proof in detail in notes. I will explain the idea of this proof. B minus A is countable. So suppose on contrary that B minus A is countable, on contrary I am saying, then what we know, a finite union of countable sets is countable. So A is countable, B minus A is countable, then B will also be countable. This will be a contradiction because B is given to be uncountable, and hence B minus A cannot be countable, it has to be uncountable. Got the idea? It is very easy to prove this. The last example which I am going to take in this topic is for range of a function. Let f from A to B be a function and range of B and range of function f and range of f be uncountable. Prove that A is uncountable. So any function whose range is uncountable has uncountable domain. No function with uncountable range can have a countable domain. Prove that A is uncountable. Answer. The proof is again by contradiction. Suppose on contrary that A is countable, A is not uncountable. A is not uncountable. We are assuming the negation of what is to be proved. A is not uncountable. Then there are two possibilities. A is either finite or countable. Then A is finite or countable. So first case A is finite. In this case A we can take in the form A1, A2, An, which consists of finitely many elements. Range of A will be subset, or it will be, to be precise I can say it is equal to, but in order to avoid the repetition of elements, we do not know whether f is 1 1 or not. So for safer side I'll say range of A is subset of f of A1, f of A2, f of An. So this clearly means that range of A is what? Range of A is finite, and hence range of A is not uncountable, because uncountable set is an infinite set which is neither finite nor countable. So this implies range of A is not uncountable. This is a contradiction, because what is given, range of, I made mistake here. I should say range of f, function we are talking about, range of function. So range of f is not uncountable. This is a contradiction. This is a contradiction. Second case, A is countable. In this case, we can represent A in the form A1, A2, A3 and so on. Again, range of f will be a subset of this set. If all are distinct images, then this will be definitely a countable set. The other possibility is that this may be a finite set if there are repetitions. For not all repetitions we can say, but what all I can say is that either it is finite or countable set. So this implies that range of f is finite or countable, because it is going to be a subset of finite or countable set. A subset of finite set is finite, a subset of countable set is finite or countable. So in any of these possibilities, range of f is finite or countable. Range of f is finite or countable. So this again implies that range of f is not uncountable. This is a contradiction. Thus, in both cases, we obtain a contradiction. Hence, our assumption was wrong. What was our assumption? That A is not uncountable. So, A must be uncountable. So, A must be uncountable. Remember this result. We need this result sometimes while proving some of the results in the real analysis. The result says that a function with uncountable range cannot have countable domain or finite domain. Domain must be uncountable. What will be contraposition of this? If A is not uncountable, then range of f will also be not uncountable. It will be finite or countable. With this, we come to the end of first topic, sets and functions. In next lecture, we will see the second topic, sequences of real numbers. Thank you.